Today we are going to be covering Treeverse. So I think this is a topic that many of you have been interested in for quite a while now, and we finally have the time now to share with you some of the research that we got. So there's a few things that I'm going to be covering today, and as always I'm just going to lay it out to you guys about the things that I'm going to be covering. So there's going to be 6 segments in total. I'm going to cover first why blockchain based gaming is going to be the future. Secondly, what is Treeverse? Then I'll speak a little bit on how it started, and then I'll share with you the reasons as to why I think Treeverse is a project worth looking at. And then the last 2 segments will be on what's currently available for you to do in Treeverse. Lastly, I'll share what's next for Treeverse. I'll start off first with why blockchain-based gaming is the future. I think we know that there's a lot of talk going on now about gaming, cryptos, and NFTs along with that. 4 reasons why gaming crypto is going to be big, and I feel it's going to be one of the sectors in the crypto industry that may stand the best chance in terms of withstanding the winter. The first reason why I say that is because of the market size and the market potential of gaming. In the global gaming market, it's currently worth about 180 billion, so that's really huge. And they anticipate that the number of streamers of online games will rise to 1 billion by 2025. So that's again huge numbers. But what fascinated me the most was this, whereby already in 2018, 3 of the top 4 most viewed sporting events in the US are actually not traditional sporting events. These are e-sporting events, which are things like your League of Legends, and that to me was huge because it clearly shows the trend that we are heading towards in terms of how gaming is going to be and how we as end users actually consume information. Technology is really changing the ways of how we communicate, how we meet, how we form communities, how we create and consume information as well. So I think these things have changed so much along the way, right? From letters to headphones, but now we are doing live streams. So technology is a key factor here in terms of how it's changing the way we connect. And you guys would have heard about this word called metaverse. Totally a buzzword in the crypto space now. Everybody is saying that they are going into the metaverse. Every project is saying that they are building a metaverse. But what exactly is a metaverse? It simply just means, meta just means beyond in Greek, and verse stands for an area, right? Like a universe. So metaverse basically just means beyond this current universe. There are many people who commonly reference this movie called Ready Player One as the first metaverse to make it mainstream. As you can see, he's wearing like a pair of VR goggles and going into like a new realm or a new verse to try and achieve something or to try and find something. The more relatable examples of this can be Starbucks. His idea of creating Starbucks is not a coffee shop. His idea of creating Starbucks was actually the idea of a third physical space beyond the office and the home. So that's his idea, and you can refer to that as a metaverse as well. Personally, World of Warcraft was kind of like my metaverse, but obviously at that point in time when I was playing it, I didn't think of it that way. But the phrase that I always use is World of Warcraft is a lifestyle, it's not a game. And that's what I always used to tell my parents when they ask me why am I spending so much time on the game, because it truly sucks you in, it's so immersive, and that's why I call it a lifestyle and it's not just a game. COVID as well, this really exacerbated things, how technology is now so much more a bigger part of our lives. Burning Man is a huge event that goes on every year, but now they have moved it online. Some concerts as well. These are just the extremes now of what is happening with technology and how it's pushing us towards metaverses. Third point about why blockchain gaming will be huge is because finally, for a change, users will be able to own their in-game assets. Another game that I play is FIFA Ultimate Team. So it's basically a game whereby you can build and manage football clubs with a collection of game cards. But it was very frustrating for me because whenever the newer version of FIFA comes about and it launches every year, it does not allow you to port your current collection conversion of players or whatever assets that you have onto the new game that comes out the next year. That was really frustrating because you spend so much time, you spend so much money, but the assets are not yours. It still belongs to the people who develop the games. But this is definitely going to change now with blockchain gaming. I always loved games, but I could never get far because I couldn't resonate the purpose of playing games with real life. Like I shared, you spend a lot of time in World of Warcraft. Yes, it's fun, but what does it actually mean for us in real life? I can't make a living from it. I don't earn anything from it. I don't own anything in it. Yes, you can at the end of the day sell your accounts for money if you are high level account, but apart from that you can't do much. And I couldn't resonate that with real life because eventually I would rather be spending my time doing things in real life that had more purpose. We now know that with NFTs, which are on the blockchains, essentially it allows users to own their in-game asset as NFTs, right? And we are already starting to see that with a lot of the NFTs that are coming out, Treeverse inclusive. Also with a decentralized multi-chain future, which we spoke a lot about how in the future it will not just be about Ethereum, right? It will be about the other chains that will come out to be able to support as more and more users get into the crypto space. So with decentralized and that multi-chain future, I would also expect a time where we will be able to transfer and utilize these in-game assets across the different chains and across the different games. And that is huge, which is something that is not possible now. With this, it allows for gaming economies to form. I'm sure many of us are already buying and trading NFTs, so you can make a profit. So even if you're not a gamer, right, you're an investor, you are still part of that economy, and that's going to expand that pool of people who are getting involved in this space. Blockchains are open source. There's a much lower barrier to entry in terms of anyone trying to create a game, and what that means is there will be more competition, a little bit like what we spoke about in the Polkadot crowd loans, whereby they allow people to compete freely, and at the end of the day, the benefit goes to the end users, right? Because as projects get more competitive, they have to offer up more, and we benefit as a whole. And this has allowed people to make a living from play to earn now. We know people in the Philippines who have started to earn several times their usual monthly salary by playing Axie Infinity. This is what I mean by it bridges games and in real life. So I spoke about not having that purpose because a game was kind of like a game, but now with blockchain gaming, it really connects the people, and I think that's why it supports the narrative of why the gaming sector or gaming in crypto is going to be the sector that brings the masses to crypto. All you need is just a phone and a laptop and Wi-Fi. You'll be able to unlock a new income stream, right? So these 4 reasons just supports why blockchain-based gaming in the crypto industry is the one that we should be looking out for, and that is why we are here, and that's why we want to be discussing Treeverse. Treeverse is an open world fantasy sci-fi based MMORPG, which basically means massively multiplayer online role-playing game with an action-packed multiplayer online battle arena style combat system. I'm just going to show you some pictures. MMORPG is basically like a role-playing game, and it's open world, right? So World of Warcraft is a great example of that. You are not confined so much to a small space, but there are many aspects around that you can explore. MOBA, which is multiplayer online battle arena, it's kind of like your League of Legends. Treeverse is an open world role-playing game, but when you start to have battles, then it would take on this form as well, which is kind of like your League of Legends and your Dota, that kind of a gameplay, right? I would think this is really quite exciting to have these 2 different aspects, and I think it really goes to show about what the founders are trying to do here to give game playing experiences the best one possible. Treeverse started with an NFT, and the first one that came out was the NFT Trees. So it was an NFT collectibles project. There's 420 available at 0.2 ETH back in February, and you can see that the floor now is 7.5 Ether. Okay, so it has grown by a lot, and in a while you will understand why. These NFTs always had an in-game utility. So back then when they launched this, it was in Feb. They already had kind of like a roadmap here to say that, okay, this is what we'll do in phase 1, phase 2 and phase 3, and it always had an in-game utility. So for me, that's already a +1 for Treeverse. Okay, because utility is always something that I look for in an NFT. Like I shared with you, this one now, this NFT trees has become the genesis of the genesis of Treeverse. Okay, so that's why it's costing that much. So another reason why I like this is because the max supply for these NFT trees was 420 mints, and each of them was at 0.2 Ether, right? So if I do a calculation of how much funds that the founders were trying to raise from this, it would be 420 mints times 0.2 Ether. So that would mean 84 Ethers. And 84 Ethers in February was about $1,500 on average. At that time, they would have raised about $126,000 from this launch to develop their game. And this is something that I'm starting to look out a lot more nowadays, because it is a watch out for me when an NFT project tries to generate way more than they need, especially when they have less demand, when they are on the newer blockchains. There are many Luna or Solana NFTs today who are launching their projects at 8 to 10,000 supply, and each of them can cost up to about 2 to 300 UST on Luna or 1 to 2 Solana respectively. So if you do that calculation, that's easily about $1.5 to $2 million raised. And the question that I always have is, do the founders really need that much capital for a start? How much of it do they intend to keep as profits, and how much of that are they intending to use to develop the game? As an investor, that's always something I'm trying to look out for, because firstly, it can help you to identify some rug pulls, and secondly, it sort of gives you an indication to what the founders are like and what they are specifically looking out for, or what they are trying to focus with the funds that they have. So for a start, NFTs have a utility, and I think the amount that they were trying to raise at that point in time is quite fair. This is the reason why you're starting to notice that the NFTs on some of the other blockchains like Solana and Luna, they are not able to finish their minting because there's just not enough demand, and they are quite expensive. We have to be very careful about it. Why do the Titan Squad like Treeverse? There are 4 reasons. First one is what I've just shared with you. I think accountability is huge. The whole part and parcel of accountability starts from there, right? Ensuring that you are managing the funds well, you're being responsible about it. Accountability also means that the founders actually come out here and they are transparent and they justify why they need that money and what the money is for. Lupify is one of the owners. He made the effort to speak about his background. He started as an artist selling crypto art, became an investor, and now a founder. So he shares a little bit of what he's trying to build, what his idea is, what he's trying to achieve, why is there a new NFT that is going to go through minting. He explains that what's the challenges that he has and why it takes so much money. He even came up with a plan here to say that if we only sell this amount, this is only how much we are going to be able to do, right? So as an investor, it really gives you the whole idea of what they are doing, gives you the confidence that they know what they are doing, and gives you the confidence that they are looking out for you as an investor. The second NFT that they have came out with, but it's the first in the Treeverse realm. It's called the Founders Private Plot, or FPP for short. They sold out in an hour. So they sold out 10,420 at about $520 each. At this point, that is about 1.25, which is I think close to about $5,340 at this point in time. This is first reason why I think they have a lot of accountability, which I appreciate. The second point about the project is they have a lot of good investors. They went through a seed round to try and raise more money from investors as well, and they concluded that seed round at a 25 million valuation, and that is huge. And one of the big names that they got as an investor is Animoca Brands, so I think this should not be new to most of us. Animoca Brands is a huge venture capitalist for games. These things should not be new to you in terms of like the Sandbox, Phantom Galaxies. They are also partnering with F1. They got many NFTs as well. They got huge plans with Formula E, with Man City. These are the people who essentially have the knowledge and the resources to make Treeverse successful. thirdly, the founders are going to mean a lot to me as well. Treeverse is founded by 2 people. So the first one I've introduced briefly, he's Loopify. So Loopify has a relevant background. I think I shared with you a little bit already about him. His commitment to NFTs is also very apparent. He has a whole newsletter channel where he is sharing everything he knows about NFTs to help other people. And he does it on a regular basis. He has a collection of NFT articles to help people. He explains some other projects. He talks about the future of blockchain gaming, gives an introduction to NFTs as well, to do other things to help the community. He's really walking the talk. The last point why I like Treeverse is because of the positive progress of game development that they have shown. The last thing that I look out for is the proof of progress. It gives me an indication as to whether the funds that they have raised are put into the right place. So I think there are a lot of discussion nowadays whereby it's not difficult to create a game with many of the game libraries that are available today. So if you raise $1.5 to $2 million and you show a gameplay that is very low quality, then immediately it raises a red flag because you have raised so much of that money, but where is that money going if this is the quality of the game that you have produced? But on the other hand, if you can show a gameplay with very good graphic, with a lot of effort being put in and it looks great, then again that's an indication of the funds raised being put in the right place. So it's an indication of that to me, and the level of commitment that the founders have in the project as well, and they're not just in it to make a quick buck. 9th of August, I think this is the first time when Treeverse launched their first alpha, right, or like the testing, and you can have a look at the gameplay back then, right? This was what it was. Well, it was quite bare bones, it was quite simple, but it was functional for sure. Now, when you fast forward to October, just about 2-3 months, this is what is coming, right? The updates are consistent, they are timely, and they're very often, which an investor would appreciate. So you can see how much these things have changed in just a couple of months. When I look at these graphics, it looks a lot more eye-catching. It reminds me of Animal Crossing on Nintendo Switch. It just shows me progress, right? Like how far they have come and what they have been spending their time on. And that again gives me the confidence that we are heading in the right way. What's currently available now then at this point in time? There are only 2 things that are available. So the first one are the NFTs. So I've already spoken about a few of it. The NFT trees is the one that I spoke about that came out way back when. That was the very first that they came out with. It's the genesis of the genesis. If you hold an NFT trees, you are entitled to more reward. For example, the timeless mint that recently happened. For anybody who had NFT trees, you are able to mint the timeless for free. I think you just have to pay for gas. As compared to someone who had a FPP, you still had to pay, I think, about 0.222 Ether for a timeless. So as a NFT trees holder, as a holder of the genesis, that gives you that utility, and there's only 420 of it. And if I'm not wrong, they also got the FPP for free. So that's why there is 10,420 FPPs, but only 10,000 was available for minting to the public. These are the additional perks. The second one is the founder's private plot. This is the first NFT in the game which they released. This is also going to be the home for your avatar in the game. If you own more than one, so if you have like 2 or 5 FPPs, you'll be able to pool them or merge them for a bigger home. Or if you have 5 plots, then you'll be able to get an island in the game. For timeless, the minting was not available to the public. Only FPP holders and NFT trees holders can get access to it, and the utility of it is it's a high quality anime profile picture, yes, but they also will function as a playable character in Treeverse that are unique as compared to the normal ones. So again, there's a utility here. All the NFTs in Treeverse for now have utilities and quite relevant one to the game. And I expect more of the same when more of these things come about. So for example, things like weapons as the game develops, or clothes for your avatars, or furnitures for your home. This is exciting. The second thing that you can do is you can actually play the game already. This is essentially what the game looks like now. You can just access the Treeverse game at this site, play.treeverse.net, and it takes you less than 15 seconds to get started. You just have to connect your MetaMask wallet, it's the ETH network, create your avatar and the name, and you can start playing. This is still kind of like the older graphics, or well, it's a little bit in between what I showed you. Again, to me, this is just like a testimony or just to show that there is active development for the game and the team are constantly trying to improve the game as we go along. What's next for Treeverse? This is the exciting part for me because roadmaps are also going to be very important. Again, it shows you what the team is intending to come up with. They have already plans for 2022. And there are a few things here that really stand out. First one is, obviously, they are looking to hire. This is an indication to me that they are doing a lot more than they can handle and they have the resources to think about hiring. So that's great. They are looking to rebrand, possibly may indicate that there's much more to come. The active development piece is huge. They are constantly trying to develop the game. The other thing is, they are going to make the game available in mobile. This talks about accessibility, understanding the gaming market well, that we know that I think almost 50 to 70% of people are starting to play games on their phone. To create a version of it on their phone is also huge. And the upgraded social aspect is also a big one for me, because what that means is if you ever played such games and when you are able to form guilds, raid as a guild, when you are able to attend events as a guild, that's when you really go down the black hole. That's when you're really in a metaverse with your friends online and you're doing things together that are fun. And now when you earn money out of it, it's just gonna be a much bigger black hole. In conclusion, my personal take on that is it's still early at this point in time. Yes, a lot of things have happened, but like I shared, there's also a lot more things to come, right? And I would still consider this as it's still an early phase for us to be able to get in if you want to. But that is if you agree with me that blockchain-based gaming is the future. If so, then I would say yes, this is an exciting project that you should keep on your radar. As I've shared, I like the founders, I like how fair and transparent they have been. I like how they have been fair and transparent with their plans, with the amount of funds that they raise and how they manage the communities. Not all projects offer you this much. That's pretty much about it for my sharing on Treeverse.